Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on when and where you're watching this live. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Tolu Olabintan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center here in the rather cold now city of Mansfield, Texas, not too far from Dallas, where we help our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. If you are watching live with us, hashtag live. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay. If you have friends, you have colleagues, you have frenemies who need to be on this show to listen on tips on how to slim down and to tune in for simple and effective tips, please tag them, forward this video to them, tag them in the comments as well. This is going to be good. Oh, hi. Wow. Hi, Dr. Una. Nice to see you. Hi, Miss Nadine. Oh, my goodness. I'm honored to have you on. So thank you for joining us today. And today we're going to be having conversations all in the name of improving our quality and quantity of life. And today we're talking about getting ready to slim down. Just simple and effective tips to do that. And I'm happy to bring on our guest. She is a second time guest. Her name is Dr. Anita Lwanga. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty initially, but she should be joining us. And she's an exercise physiologist. She's a general internist. She's a geriatrician, and she works in the Saskatchewan health region in Canada. Okay, I think I butchered that, but y'all forgive me. And I'm excited that she's coming on to give us tips on how to sleep down. All right, I see a lot of you are excited, so this is good. This is good. Um, and she's come on before to talk about ways people kind of struggle with weight loss, and some of the hiccups that happen in one's weight loss journey. And so this promises to be enlightening as well. Let me see where she is at so we can get her on and we can get the show started. Started. All right. Let me see. All right. So while I'm waiting for her to come on, I'm going to introduce her. Her name is Dr. Anita Lwanga. All right. She's a big lifestyle strategist as well. She helps empower her clients through her own personal story to improve their own health outcomes. So I'm excited that she's coming on with us tonight. Give me 1 second. Let me see what the holdup is. Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right. We have more guests. All right. We're going to start while we wait for her to join us. And our first question is for her would have been okay. So she's trying to join. She says she'll join us in a second. Let's start talking about why we are having this conversation. Now, I'll be honest with you. There have been quite a little bit of, okay, there she is. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
All
sorry.
right. You're good. Good to see you. Woo-hoo. I was excited when my guest joins. All right, this is good. All right. All right, Doc. So I just introduced you, but if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself again? Saying who you are, what you do, and why you do that you do.
Okay, my name is Anita Lwanga. A little bit about myself. I grew up, or I was born in East Africa, but I grew up in Western Canada. And there are 6 kids in my family. So my parents were like, we need to control these children. So they put us in sports. And we were still pretty crazy because I remember doing a flip and kicking a hole in the wall. So you can imagine my poor parents had their hands full. So with that in mind, in terms of my background, I was a competitive gymnast. And I noticed as a gymnast, whenever I experiment with my body, specifically what I'd eat and what my sleep pattern was like, my performance changed. So I was like, okay, this sleep thing is good. I need to sleep at least 8, 9 hours, then my performance is better. And then if I was not eating regular snacks, because our training sessions were pretty long, if I was not eating snacks in between a 4-hour session, by the end of the day, my performance was terrible. So I was like, okay, I need to eat certain foods to perform well, but to keep my energy levels up and that I can digest easily. So I wasn't necessarily eating the healthiest things, but I noticed that had a big impact on my body. When I did my undergrad, in exercise and health physiology. And with that, we learned how exercise impacts the body. So we also learned specific things about different kinds of training. For example, resistance training, cardio, impact it has on your heart and your lungs. And we had a little bit of training with regards to nutrition. Fast forward to my journey to becoming a physician. I don't know how you feel, but in medical school, we didn't get a lot of information about how diet and exercise affects our health. We're more focused on this is the disease. These are the pills you're going to give the person. And oh yeah, they should, cut back on their salt, eat healthy in quotation marks. So in terms of fast forwarding to why my interest is in natural means of treatment, specifically looking at how the diet, the exercise, and the sleep impacts people. As a new attending, for those of you guys who don't know, our journey in medicine is crazy. You become an attending, meaning an independently practicing physician, after you finish residency. I was not healthy, and our residency programs usually don't support a very healthy lifestyle. It's glorified to sleep less. You don't need to eat. If you want to eat, put a granola bar in your pocket and keep going kind of culture. So I had those habits, and I was not very healthy during my first couple of years of working independently, and I gained weight. I actually ended up getting a nutrition coach to help me manage my weight, and he went back to the basic things that I knew I just was not applying. So if just having a coach was that powerful for me, somebody pointing out what I thought small things I was doing that impacted health, how powerful is that for my patients if I, rewind, slow down and say, yes, we're going to continue taking the medications, but how is your sleep? And that opens a whole Pandora's box in terms not just their weight, but their overall well-being. So that's a very prolonged answer to what you were asking me, but I'm pretty passionate about it. Like the natural means, the basic stuff our grandma told us is so important.
I love it. And I did slap 3 questions in one. So you did very well introducing your background. I'm impressed. You're a gymnast? What? You think you know somebody? That's so awesome. Awesome fact. So I love that you shared your own personal journey and how a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today seem simple. But for those who are watching, I want to encourage you. If it's 1 or 2 things you're going to pick from this that you're going to consistently do, you will see the difference. And who you become for it is worth it. So hang on, hang tight. All right. So my next question to you, Doc, is this. Now, what are simple changes? We're looking for simple. We don't want anything complex. That someone can make to their diet, regardless of what it is, to help them lose weight? Is there a magic answer?
Yeah, I love that question because it's not always the complicated things that can make such a big difference. So the first thing, I think I mentioned it during the last time you were interviewing me, and I don't know who said this, but I love it. The phrase that should run through your mind whenever you're looking at food: does it fly? Does it walk? Does it swim? Does it grow that way? So in summary, it just means select foods in their natural form. Like the way foods are made is so perfect, and then we as humans decide to put this chemical and preserve it, and foods are not as healthy as they used to be. And part of the reason you want to select foods in their natural form is because they tend to have more vitamins and more minerals, and beyond that they have something called phytochemicals in them. So phytochemicals are compounds that are similar to antioxidants. We're all taking these supplements for antioxidants, but you don't necessarily have to. Antioxidants are in our foods. And a good way to tell what food has a lot of antioxidants is by looking at the color. If the color is like deep red, purple, blue, deep green, orange, those are the things you want to select. Our pumpkins, our berries, our cabbage, our broccoli. Select those natural foods as much as possible. And if you're going towards meats, select meat in its natural form rather than the luncheon meat. Choose the turkey from, the holiday season. That's much better. So we can talk forever about natural forms of food, but if you just kind of have that rhyme in your head, does it fly, walk, swim, or grow that way? That's very, very, basic and simple. I have more tips if we have more time.
Oh, we're gonna dive into it, and I love it. I always like to say, the more naked, the better. So just play natural, like just add some of that. So this is good. Now, for someone, let's talk a little bit about more examples of natural foods. When it comes to grains,
Hmm.
do you have any pointers? Because I have people say, well, I eat white rice, and it's natural, and I eat bread. It says whole wheat on it. Um, yes.
Yeah, that is great. So as much as possible, though, with our lifestyle, who we don't always have time to cook all these grains, but if you can choose brown rice, that is better. If you can try experiment with things like quinoa. The good thing about quinoa and some of these natural grains is that they're higher in protein. So you still need your protein, but you're getting a higher dose of protein with the grain. That is going to keep you full, and that is going to nourish your body as well. If you need to eat bread, that's okay. Wheat bread is good, but perhaps you can substitute half, like say one slice of bread, and then add veggies in there. You're going to get your so-called carbohydrates, but you're getting more nutrient dense and natural foods. If you're going to select things like your potatoes, you can keep your sweet potato with your skin on. Same with the white potato, you can keep it with the skin on. The
Mhm.
where a lot of the foods tend to have their nutrients. And as
Mhm.
you're posting up here, beans. Beans are awesome as well. Um, in their natural form, you can probably get beans that are dried and soak them. Canned beans are okay, but the problem with that is they tend to have a bit of sodium in them to preserve them.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that the potatoes, the skin. I enjoy eating it. Thank you. That is gold. And ooh, this is good. Okay. All right. Next question. How much exercise should we be doing to lose weight? Now, I know that question may not be general for everyone. So of course, these are medical suggestions. We do encourage that you have conversations with your own doctor. But for someone who said, I want to lose weight, I don't feel like, running an hour on the treadmill. I don't enjoy exercise. But how much exercise should I be doing to lose weight? How would you answer that question, Doc?
That is a great question. And they've actually done studies on the optimal amount of exercise and the reason why. So, in general, most of us as adults, at a minimum, including myself, should be getting 4 to 6 days of activity, physical activity in per week. And each session should last 40 to 60 minutes. Because I know I have people say, I'm active at work. I move around, I do this, I lift stuff, or I go for like a 5 minute walk. That's okay. But the thing is, you want it to be continuous. First
Mm,
of all, when it's that continuous activity, your heart rate goes up. It's good for your lungs and your body's better able to get into shape. And then, if we're looking at weight loss specifically, when you are doing what we call low state or steady state cardio, meaning something like walking or jogging at a slow pace where you can keep up a conversation, your
mm,
body burns certain fuels. Within the first 40 minutes, your body's burning mostly sugar that's in your bloodstream. Around the 40-45 minute mark, your body like drastically switches into fat burning mode. From that
mm.
5 minutes to 90 minutes, a lot of us can't necessarily do that. But if you can do that, your body's going to really be maximizing the amount of fat that you're burning. And when you're losing weight, you want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle. You don't want your bone mass or to go down. You want that fat to go down. You want to keep your muscles because muscles burn calories, and you want to have that nice tone and be strong. So you want to be smart about the way you're exercising. You don't need to spend a ton of hours in the gym. You just need to be very strategic in terms of the heart rate you're targeting, doing cardio
Mm.
and doing it for a longer period of time. And to do for a longer period of time, you go a little bit slower.
Wow. Um, Sweat.
You don't have to sweat. You don't have to sweat that much.
Oh
And
my gosh.
hey, you don't have to
Oh,
sweat that much. Like some of us are like, I don't, no, 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 no. I want to, listen to my podcast. You can listen to your podcast. You can get on your treadmill, watch your favorite show, and walk slowly.
awesome, awesome. Batch it with something you enjoy so the time doesn't feel really long. Now I have someone who's asking the question. Hi, Valerie, and thank you for asking this question. What if you lift weight and not just do cardio? Do you have to still do the 45 minutes or more if you're just doing the weight lifting?
I love it. I love it. So the challenging thing is depending on what your goals are. Weightlifting, it's not a bad thing. It's a very, very good thing, but it can kind of discourage you. So if you're really focusing on saying, okay, for the next 6 months, my goal is to drop, this many pounds, like being very objective, not that everyone needs to do that. You might want to focus on the cardio initially, make sure you get your weight, specifically fat, down, then you can lift weights. The good thing about lifting weights is that you will put on muscle, and as you have more muscle you burn more calories, but the scale might not budge. It might actually even go up because you're gaining muscle over time. And on top of that, every time you're doing resistance training, you're having micro tears in your muscles, and as your body's recovering, there's like an inflammatory reaction. I don't want to get too too nerdy, but long story short, your body will retain water. You retain water, you're going to be like, oh, the scale went up for like the last 2 weeks. I've been eating perfectly. And then you'll get very frustrated. So if you can handle it mentally, and you have like a certain goal of, not necessarily losing weight, you want to gain muscle, you don't mind it going up and down, yes, please add your resistance training in. But if you want to maximize fat burning and keep your heart and your lungs in shape, in addition to say having 2 or 3 sessions of lifting weights, add at least 3 sessions of cardio. Your heart and your lungs need it to keep you healthy.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, my next question is this. Are there specific foods I should avoid to help me lose weight? That could be a lot, but what would you see are the things to say, okay, because we talked about what to add and how to pick the foods that are right for you. Can we talk about things to say, let's dial down?
I love that question because it can be the reason I say I love it, it can be such a controversial question because you hear some nutritionists saying, you don't need to restrict what you eat. You can eat ice cream and lose weight. And, yes, perhaps, but how healthy are we going to be? And not all foods or food groups need to be vilified. Like, there are good fats. It's very important to eat fat because, your whole body needs it. Every cell is actually lined by fat. All your hormones have fat. So going back to which specific foods I'll start with limit foods that are calorie dense. Foods that tend to be calorie dense are some of the fats. You still need them. So rather than eating half a bag of nuts, take a handful, and that's okay for that meal. That's your portion of fat. Rather than eating 2 avocados when you're making your avocado toast, half an avocado. That's okay. Rather than taking the trail mix, pick the almonds with the skin on because the fiber is there, more nutrients are there, and no salt. That sounds so boring, but okay. Salad dressing. Pick the balsamic vinaigrette. The balsamic vinaigrette is pretty good. And look at the size. 1 tablespoon, not half the bottle. Sauces. Try cut back on your sauces or make your own sauce. The challenge is a lot of these sauces, they put sugar in them, which makes them taste good and addictive. So we'll be like, okay, I'm eating my chicken breast. I didn't put a lot of salt on it. It's good to put spices, but put your spices on there because they're very natural. They have phytochemicals, which we talked about before. But you'll be like, oh, it doesn't taste so good. So I'm gonna put like a 1/4 cup of ketchup to make it go down, or a 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce. And that has, completely ruined your whole meal and your goal of trying to keep your calories balanced. So I talked about calorie dense foods. Other foods to limit are processed foods. We talked about, selecting foods in their natural form. But the other problem with processed foods is to preserve them, they put certain chemicals in there that are not good for you. You tend to add trans fats. Trans fats are not good for you because they've been linked to a higher rates of heart disease, cancer, diabetes. So, you want to avoid foods that are packaged, processed, or there have been preservatives added to make them last longer. So again, to keep it very simple, choose foods in their natural form. Those tend to be, not so nutrient dense, I'll put it that way. They have lots of nutrients. They have a reasonable amount of calories. You do need some calories, but you don't want to overdo it, and watch your portion sizes.
All right, Doc. I have someone who's watching who's like, man, sounds like you want me to eat bird food, right? Because like it can be hard to stick to some of these restrictions, or it can be a little discouraging. How do you encourage someone who is saying, man, I gotta start counting and using my fists and measuring, and it sounds a little too restrictive? how would you encourage one to make those steps that are necessary for living a life that's healthy and
Mhm.
keeps you doing the things that you enjoy doing?
Wow, I think that's a great question because our mindset when we approach food is so important. If you're looking at the plan that you have for your nutrition as restrictive, it's very hard for it to be sustainable. But if you approach what you're eating with the mindset that your goal is to fuel your body, to keep yourself healthy, and your food is not really here to entertain you, it's to keep you healthy, to fuel you, then you won't feel as restricted. You can also implement certain things that make it easier for you or more sustainable. For example, for myself, I have like my day on the weekends where I let myself eat whatever I want. And the funny thing is, when I do eat other foods that are not in my routine, I'm disappointed. Like, I can't tell you how many restaurants I've gone to. And okay, I ordered whatever they had, and I'm like, they didn't give me enough meat. They didn't give me enough vegetables. I've actually gotten used to the way I eat, and I prefer the way I eat. I actually get very annoyed when people don't give me the right portion size because actually I'm very generous with the amount of food that I let myself eat. They give me like a
Mhm.
quarter of the chicken that I want to eat. So I think if you approach it as, I'm doing this for my health, I'm doing this for the long run. Food is not here to comfort me. Food is not here to entertain me.
Ooh,
That's a very difficult concept because a lot of us use food to de-stress, but I had to go on my own journey and say, why am I really eating this food? Like a lot of stuff I'd eat, like, snacking on nuts, just out of habit. And then I realized, oh, my job is pretty stressful. I'm eating because my job is stressful. And that's a completely different issue. It's not about the food, it's about the issue. And that's actually really beautiful because you can look back and say, what steps do I need to take to deal with the stress? And
mhm.
that's better for you long term. So I think you need to do some soul searching and figure out, what do you want for your health? Maybe get some help in terms of having a nutritionist, guide you and help you create recipes that are healthy. You can experiment with recipes online and modify them. Cut back on the salt, cut back, change the kind of oil you're using. For example, I don't know what your audience's background is, but my family's from East Africa and we tend to use this oil. It's similar to ghee, but it's so bad for you. It tastes so good, but it's so bad.
Tastes so good, but so bad. Yeah, okay.
So switch that out for olive oil. Like my people, we can't that we shouldn't be using that oil. We should be using olive oil instead in a smaller portion. So make those tweaks with the mindset, I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this for the long run. And you'll get used to it. And then you go taste other people's foods that are using the ingredients that are not healthy. And you're like, whoa, too much salt. I mean, not
Yep.
no shade on them, but I'm good with the healthy food that I'm eating. So I think it has to come from inside, and it has to come from a place where you're not looking at it as restriction.
I love it. And I love how it's almost like you're having a conversation with yourself and you're looking at other alternatives to help address the issue outside of food. So, what are other things you could do to self soothe or to address what's stressing you outside of food? And you've already alluded to a lot of this, like the benefits of making these changes. You feel better, you feel lighter. In fact, when you reintroduce the junk food, your body's like, whoa, what are we doing? You
Mm.
know what I mean? So, and I'm saying that to encourage those who are watching. I know she said food is not here to comfort you, and some of you are like, "Whoa, how dare you?" But it is true. We eat to live. We don't live to eat, and it's a war out there as far as bioengineering, food engineering right now. But we're arming ourselves with these conversations to know exactly the function of food and how we can tweak it for our own benefit so we can enjoy this life. All right. Now, Doc, my next question to you, you mentioned nuts. So for someone who's like, I'm a snacker. So what are you saying? I can't snack. Like, what are things I can snack on throughout the day to just keep my taste buds just a little excited while I'm going through the day and still keep my weight loss goals on track?
That is a great question because all of us love a good snack. To be honest, some of these snacks might sound a little bit boring, but the truth is you'll get used to it. So a great snack are raw vegetables. And the reason these are healthy is because they have a lot of nutrients in them.
Oh,
They're
Dr.
lower in
Nancy?
calories.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, our internet is a
Okay, looks like we're good now. I wanted to quote, right with a quote, a great snack, fresh
yes.
fruits and vegetables. I want to quote
Yeah.
that. That's big.
Veggies specifically, I think I'd lean more towards the fruits
Okay.
because they're high in sugar, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. So you can try things like kale chips, perhaps make your own and put a little bit less salt on them. Air fried mushrooms I've seen at some of the grocery stores. Those are a little bit salty as well, but if you want to experiment, you can try those. Chopped cucumbers, chopped celery, chopped broccoli, cauliflower. And then if you're going to put the salad dressing on there, of course, to make it go down, watch the amount of salad dressing you're using. Don't take half the bottle to make it go down, like spread out like 1 tablespoon and you will actually get used to it. Another great snack that one of my coaches told me about, I wouldn't have thought of this as a snack, is taking your leftover meat. So take your leftover chicken from last night or your leftover turkey, chop it up, put a little bit of like lemon juice or, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then eat that. And that is pretty satisfying. Another snack that I like, especially when I'm going to go out to, a friend's house or go out to a restaurant and I'm bound to overeat the things I do not want to eat. I take collagen powder, I mix it with water, and then I put Crystal Light in there. This is not natural, but it helps me get protein in, helps me make sure I'm well hydrated, and it's low in calories. So it tastes decent, and I feel like I'm getting a sweet treat without, using a lot of calories. So that's my go-to, at least, twice per day. I have my nice big 2 liter. I'm trying to think in ounces. That's like 67 ounces. And I put my 2 scoops of collagen and then Crystal Light, and I'm carrying that around with me during work.
I love it. It sits in your stomach. It helps the fullness. Wow, that's so good. That is so good.
And then the last one I have for you guys is coffee and tea. There's so many teas to experiment with amazing flavors. If you can't stomach it, straight black. Like if you can do that, good on you. The coffee I can do straight black. The tea, I'm like, I need a little something. You can put almond milk in there and then add Splenda. So now you feel like you're getting your nice sweet treat. And over time, you can try kind of changing the milk. A lot of us like oat milk, this nice creamy milk, but it's processed, it's higher in calories. If you can try switching to almond milk, the lower calorie version, and then your Splenda in there, or cutting back on your sugar, your body will get used to it. So if you kind of play a little game and say, okay, this day is like half, and then this day is full, and slowly, wean yourself off, you'll be amazed how far you can go.
That is big. A lot of people drink their calories unbeknownst to them. So the Frappuccino, Wappuccino, Duppuccino, all the chinos, they load it with a lot of cream and sugar, very, very calorie dense. But just even the oat milk, like people have been amazed just trying that. Like it's still creamy. This is gold. This is gold. I hope people are taking notes. This was good. All right, man. Time flew. So I have one more question before we wrap up, though, Doc. So it's the holiday season we're getting into, and people are going to be going to social events. And part of how we communicate and celebrate is food. So quick hacks. How do we enjoy the party without getting off track?
Good. That's a great question. I think part of the way you need to start is with your mindset. Because I think if you don't have a plan, you're more likely to slip up. And then once you slip up, you feel guilty. And then you step on the scale and then you're like, oh man, I gained weight. Who cares? It's over. Let me start again in January. At least that's my that's my mindset. I think I'm talking to myself. So I think it's very important to have a plan and say, okay, so I have this day on Saturday where I'm going to eat whatever I want. And, I'm going to go to the parties on Saturday. But even if I have a party on Thursday or Friday, I am going to pre-plan what I'm going to eat. So at least having that buffer day and giving yourself some wiggle room, that's okay. You are not going to feel guilty and you're going to enjoy that day to the full. And tomorrow, you're going to get back on track because you have another day coming up. So I think it's very important to plan, first of all. And then on those days when you're going to, enjoy yourself, don't overdo it. Say, okay, breakfast, I'm going to eat good. Lunch is when the event is. So I'm going to eat my nice big plate of whatever I want to eat. My dessert, dinner, I get back on track. So just having that controlled kind of schedule within that meal, but you're not, throwing your diet completely off. Because in one day, some of us can do a lot of damage.
Wow.
And on the days when it's like, it's not your day, that's okay. Tell yourself it's not your day. You're going to have your day, but pre-plan what you're going to eat. So if okay, my dinner is usually vegetables and lean meat. Somebody else is cooking. I can't control how much salt or butter or whatever they're putting in there. try to follow the your routine as much as possible. So you're gonna pick the veggies, you're gonna pick the meat without too much sauce. If they offer you dessert, you say, "It's lovely, I love it, but I'm today's not my day. But it looks beautiful. Maybe I'll take it for tomorrow, and then take it for tomorrow. But you have discipline. You made your plan. You're gonna eat that dessert tomorrow, not today. So I think really having that game plan and giving yourself some room is important. If you do fall off of the bandwagon, get back up. If you had a bad week, that's okay. Just regroup and get back on the bandwagon. And then in terms of, more microscopic details to help you have self-control, I tend to have my water with protein powder and Crystal Light. If I have that, by the time I go to somebody's house, I'm pretty good. That really, really,
I
really
love
helps.
it. I love it. A lot of things to help you help yourself. Stay on track. You talked about grace, being gracious to yourself, not giving up when you slip up one or 10, 100 times, but starting again. Fresh day, fresh start. I love it. I love it. This has been so, so good. I love having you on, I gotta say. And I look forward to doing this in a couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the new year, people need, some motivation.
Okay. Okay. So I will send you a link right after this so you can book the one for January. Okay. Because I think we can get people encouraged from the get go. And maybe even before the beginning of the year. It's always good to do this. But this has been awesome. Doc, I have people watching. Oh, I love this doctor. I love her vibe. I love her smile. Her backdrop is lit. Where can people find you, Doc? Where can people find you?
Well, I am all over social media. If you are on LinkedIn, you can just type in Anita Lwanga. The last name is Lwanga. You can connect with me there. On Instagram, I am at Lwanga. That's all lowercase Lwanga and then MD. On TikTok, I haven't been as active, but it's Dr. Lwanga. YouTube, Dr. Lwanga as well. So those are the places people can find me online. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, I can try and make a video out of it so that everyone gets to learn. Yeah, I would love to do that.
This has been awesome. And for those of you who are watching, it's in the comment section for those watching on Facebook and those watching on YouTube. And it's also below the screen as well, so you can see that. But I really appreciate you taking the time to do this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the patience despite our technical.
We did it. Oh, this is good.
We made
We did it. We did it. Now, thank you all for watching. Those of you who watch live, those of you who watch a replay, I appreciate you. Please, as always, do us a favor, subscribe, like, follow, tag, like, poke, all the things to show us that this information is actually very, very helpful and is adding more value to your life. And as always, caring is sharing. So forward this to those who could find this useful. And on that note, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and compassionate family physician in the Mansfield, Texas area who will have conversations like this to help you live long and well, I am she. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks again, Doc. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh.